Hi and welcome to Linux and Windows Help. In today's video we're going to be covering computer building, or just the parts of computer, which is computer building. This is an old computer. It was a pre-bought computer. It's not a custom build or anything. It's an old junk computer. I don't even know if it works anymore. I think the motherboard is fried in it, I believe. If my memory serves me correct. About 50 billion years ago. Anyways, this is a case. Yeah. Okay, we're done. Now, when you go to build a computer, you first find the motherboard and the CPU you want. Now, after you find what you want and the hardware you want, then you got to find a case that will fit it. So you got to make sure that the case will fit that motherboard. Sometimes the motherboard is really big and you need a bigger case. Sometimes they're really small. And also sometimes there's different connections on the side. So you got to make sure that your case, or just don't even have a case, just throw it in a fish aquarium with mineral oil. Mineral oil is not a conductor of electricity, so you could just put it in a fish aquarium. Or lay it out on the table, whatever. Anyways, okay, so that's your main components. It's a motherboard. Everything connects to it, and that's what operates your computer. This is the center of the computer. It's a CPU. It's what processes it. There's different styles, so just by watching this doesn't mean you're gonna know exactly how to put any computer together, because you just gotta sometimes look up your particular model. In this particular one, this CPU just sits there, like that. Lid closes, clamp goes over it, and it's in. All right, so now, if you notice there's like some junk on there. If you go to, like if you're working on this, you need to clean all that old stuff off. And the same with this. I'll explain what this is later, but you got to clean all this off too. So it's got to be perfect clean. Then you get something called thermal compound, and that's what this stuff is. And you put a thin layer of thermal compound on there, and it'll give you the directions how to do it, but you just put a real thin coat on there. Okay. After you get done with that and you make sure this is cleaned off, this just screws into the board. Well, like I said, there's different styles. This particular one, it screws into the board. So you just set it up there perfectly. Make sure you line it up good, because you're putting a new thermal compound on. You don't want to move it around too much. And then you just tighten the screws in. I'm gonna wait on that. So, but yeah, that's how you do it. You just screw it in, pop it in there, screw it in, and then this little cord will plug into right here. It just depends on the motherboard, but it's what gives it power. It just connects right there. So that's what gives the fan power. That's what controls it. But what we're gonna do next, is put the power supply in. Now, like I said, this is an old power supply. It's only 280 watt. Modern day computers, this thing won't even boot it up. It doesn't have enough power to boot up your computer, let alone any things you got in there. But for this old computer, it works great. It's perfect for it. It just pops in. Usually the case comes with the power supply, but if you're gonna put in, stuff in there like water cooled stuff, and you're running off all this, you're gonna need a bigger power supply more than likely. It just depends on what you're going to be running. You want to put in 500 USB devices, you might want to get a bigger power supply. Just an idea there. So it just screws in. There's 4 screws to hold it. I'm just putting one right now. I don't really want to screw around with that. Oh, I should have done the RAM first. That's fine. It's fine. You can still see. So this is RAM. It's randomly accessed memory. It's basically whenever you load something into memory, this is where it goes. When a program's running, it goes into here. So the more RAM you got, the more applications you can run, or faster things load. And it works with the CPU. Think of this like a transmission in a car, okay? And the CPU is the engine. So if you got just an engine with no transmission, a straight axle, it's not going to go very fast, But You get a transmission where you can shift gears, you can go faster. So think of RAM as sort of like a transmission. I mean, that's kind of how it works too. They work together, but it holds your temporary memory, and it varies. You got to make sure you get the right RAM for your motherboard too. This is an old RAM, and more than likely it won't even be supported on your computer. Well, it's supported on this one either. I can't get it in there. Maybe I'm putting it in wrong. I can't see. Yeah, I was putting it in wrong. Okay. Yeah, it just pops in there. Gotta make sure. Should have a flashlight. Come on, get in there. Usually I have this laying on its back, on its side. It's a lot easier to work in too. So, and the towel is the reason, is so I don't scratch the table and my wife kills me. That allows me to make future videos. Because if my wife kills me, I can no longer make any more videos. I know, I'm like like those people that tongue click to put people to sleep? It's kind of like me, I'm putting you to sleep, but with computer stuff. Okay, so we got the motherboard, and the difference, this one, it screws in, but it's screwed into little rubber gaskets in the back. But there are different styles. Usually it goes into plastic and it pops in. There's usually like a couple screws to hold in, but it's secured to the board. But or to the case. Like I said, you don't necessarily need a case. It's just a fancy way of holding it in there. Okay, so we got the RAM. These are for expansion cards, so you could put like a video card in there, really good video card. You can put a sound card. It comes with an onboard sound card, but you can get a much better sound card. You can get all kinds of. You can get more USB ports. There's so many different kind of cards you can get. You just look online, and hopefully they don't send you coronavirus. Just hope and pray. Hope and pray you don't get the corona. All right. So yeah, this screws in. Just pops in right there, and it screws in, and it plugs into the board too. Gets the power. But we're gonna keep it out of the way because it's big and bulky. It's easier to see. Got it. In there. But it has to be in there before you boot it up. Alright, there's power for the board. Comes out of the power supply. You gotta make sure you get, this is also another power cord for the board. Like I said, it varies from types. And the rest of these is for the devices. Like, usually you take the longest one and you go to the longest thing. You can get whatever you want. You can get like a little duplicator. So like if you got two devices here and you don't have another one, you can get a little plug that plugs in there and gives you two ports. This is usually for a floppy drive, but this one don't have a floppy drive, I don't think. Nope. So that one's just useless. And I also got a CD copier up here, so you can plug it up in the CD copier as well. Get the power. All right, these are old. I'm gonna go and unplug the power since you got the powers lined up. And they're just in the way. It's an old style hard drive. These are IDE hard drives, but they just pop in like this. Actually, let me see here. I must have two. Oh yeah, there's a second ribbon. Whatever. But anyways, sometimes you can hook up. This is a master, and then if you got another drive right here, you can just hook it like this, and make sure you jump it to be a slave. So you jump this one to master. Right here's a jumper. It'll say master or slave, and then you jump the other one to slave. You can hook up two on the one port. Nowadays, they're all like USB 3.0 sometimes. They don't even have, I don't even think they use SATA anymore. I don't know, I haven't built a computer in a minute. And then the IDE cable just plugs into the board. So you got the power, and you get the IDE cable. The hard drive is not really a main part of the computer though. I was saying, Hard drive is to hold your operating system, to hold your files, but you necessarily don't need it. You don't need that to operate. You could load off of a CD. You know, you could boot off of Linux if you want. You don't necessarily need a hard drive, but it's what allows you to have an operating system. The older computers didn't have it. You know, like the old Apple IIs or whatever. You just pop in a disk and reboot. We're kind of like a Nintendo, which, I mean, Nintendos are a computer. Game systems are a computer. So we covered the motherboard, we covered the RAM. Remember to put thermal compound. You just look it up on Amazon, thermal compound, easy. Remember to clean it. It just screws up there and it plugs in. So you got the case, power supply, you got the motherboard, RAM, and CPU. That is the main components of a computer. That's it. The hardest part to computer building is this. Look down here. See how those little wires? I'm gonna move the camera. Oh, you can see it. You see it. All those little wires right there. Those are the hardest part to computer. You gotta get like with a magnifying glass, and a telescope. Look in there and it says like system speaker or USB, front panel USB, or just different things. This right here is for the sound card right here. You know, it gives a microphone and a headset in the front. And then you got up here, you got all these card readers and stuff. So you got, it's a USB card reader, but you got to plug those things in, and then you got a power button. So that power button got to plug in over here too. All those things got to plug in, and like I said, that is the hardest part of computer building. Seriously, I mean, that is the hardest part. So now you've seen the inside of the computer, and like there's a CD-ROM drive up there. Like I said, this is IDE, so you got power, IDE, the same. It's the same as the hard drive. But here's two different, like there's IDE 1, IDE 2. So you can hook IDE 1 to the hard drive, and then IDE 2 to the CD-ROM. That's pretty much it. It's got an onboard GPU, which is graphics, which is crappy graphics, but it's got a graphics card built in, which is junk. But you always get a really good graphic card and you put in there. You get something like NVIDIA or something if you're gonna play games. If you're gonna hack though, NVIDIA does not work good with hacking. So sometimes I have to go into, like if I'm gonna use Kali Linux, I'll have to, if I have an NVIDIA card, I go into onboard card and I switch it in the BIOS to use the onboard GPU in order to load Kali. Otherwise, it won't run Kali on NVIDIA for some reason. I don't know why they don't upgrade it to do that, but they just don't do that. I never looked into it why. I don't ask questions like that. No point. Yeah. So that's it. That's computer building. A lot of the newer one, like, oh, that's for SATA right there. So it does have SATA capabilities, but it also has the old IDE. If you look at new motherboards, they don't even have IDE anymore. I don't even know if they have SATA. Just a bunch of USB 3.0s in there. Hook up your drives. Sometimes I think they're faster than SATA now. If I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna have to look into that. Actually, the new SATAs, I think they power it too. It powers it and data. No, you still have to hook a power to the old SATA, I believe. Yeah. No, that's it. I'm gonna go and cut the video short. 15 minutes. This old junk computer, it's not gonna work. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to screw this in real quick, so you can see that too. So no, I'm not. I wasn't just joking with you. So yeah, you put the thermal compound on there, and then you just go in there straight as you can, so you're not smearing it everywhere. Which I would probably be smearing it everywhere if I was actually putting this together for real. Like I said, the best way to work on these stupid things is like this, okay? I can't see it, but that is the best way to work on your own PC. Sideways. I don't have to hold the camera. Hey, gravity goes with you. Gravity's working with you now. You just set it there. And it screws in. Pop it in, screw it in, whatever, that one goes on. I think you're supposed to hold it down with one hand and screw it with the other. Alright. Setting the camera down. Put it on wrong. I think I broke it or something. What does it even screw into? I don't even see nothing there. Maybe that's why it's broke. There's not even nothing to screw it to. Yeah. I'll have to check into it. There's something wrong with it. Never did really look into it. It was given to me. I never had the time to work with it. But anyways, yeah. It just screws in. If you got it designed right. With the correct things in the back to screw into. Alright. I'm going to end this video. Computer building, and I recommend watching other people's videos because this one's probably gonna suck for you. You can watch, newer videos, and if you got a junky computer, you just take a strap, throw it in like that. Throw a screwdriver at it, who cares? I need to get rid of all this stuff. I'm actually thinking about it. I'm just gonna keep my old hard drives, and I need to get rid of all this junk. Me and my wife was talking about it. I got a bunch of cables and stuff, and years of collecting, and I need to get rid of all that junk. I'm gonna keep my hard drives up because for one thing, I don't know what the hell's on them. Someone might get a hold of my, photos of me naked sunbathing, and then I'd go viral. Because I am so fucking dead sexy. Alright. Not really. Alright. I'm done, for real. I put in the screws. I'm gonna take this back down to the basement. Throw it in a corner for another 20 years. Alright, bye.